All right, here we are once again. I'm gonna do a drop and hook. Yesterday I did the part C, but I had the landing gear all the way down, and then I'm just gonna do a drop and hook. I'm gonna get in and out of the truck, and I'm gonna tell you like how to align yourself with the connection, so you can align correctly. See, because I'm looking at the truck. This is a much the trailer's not as wide because it's an older trailer. So if I'm looking in my mirrors, see, my wheels come a little bit past the threshold of the trailer. But when I'm looking in my mirrors, I'm kind of aiming for, let me use the laser pointer. I'm kind of aiming for this corner, right? Depending on how wide the trailer is. If it's one of those new trailers, your wheels are going to be on the inside, underneath the apron, and then you would line up you're lining up your sidewall, and you're picking a mark point, like you're marking a point right here on the trailer's front side. So I'm going to line up the sidewall of my tires with a point here on the trailer. This trailer is a little bit skinnier. It's not as wide as the new trailers, so I can actually line up my sidewall with the side of my trailer here. So I'm looking in my mirror. I'll show you once I get in the truck, so you know what I'm talking about. So when I line up the truck, it's going to be with the sidewall right here with the side of the trailer. You know, on these skinnier trailers, they're not as wide, so I can do sidewall with side of the trailer. On the newer trailers, like a 53, which is now like the industry standard, or like if you happen to have a 48, I think those are over 100 inches wide. I would go like, I'm looking at the rivets. I go 1 rivet, 2 rivet, 3, 4 rivets in. I'm gonna line my sidewall with this corner here, because you know, here I have a day cab, so I can cheat and look out the window, but I don't like looking out the window, because if I'm driving a sleeper truck, I gotta go with my mirrors. I can't do things based. Everything's always done with my mirrors. I'm going off my mirrors each and every time. Now, I don't like looking in that right mirror, because that right mirror is very deceitful. It'll lie to you. You think you're, hey, I'm straight. I got it. You don't got it. It got you. So let's go back to where we're looking at. And then when I'm looking at my connection for this trailer, let me take a step back so you can see. Right now, this trailer, the way that I'm connected, I'm completely connected correctly. But I'm looking at the front. Right here, if you see the laser pointer, I'm looking at this front here. When I look in my mirror and I see where I'm at in relation to like the frame and the fifth wheel. If I look at my fifth wheel, right, where the pivot pin is, it's lined up right around here on the tire. So I'm backing underneath, and I'm gonna feel the top of the skid plate when it hits the apron of the trailer. I'm gonna feel it on the bottom of my foot, on my clutch foot. If you don't have a clutch and you're driving an automatic, you'll still feel it on the brake pedal, because when you're backing up, you're gonna let the truck idle, but you're gonna keep your foot on the brake pedal. You'll feel it when the top of the skid plate hits the apron. That's gonna happen right around here. Top of the fifth wheel, which is the skid plate, hits the apron. You're gonna feel it on the pedal. In a stick shift truck, you're gonna feel it on the pedal also in an automatic. Now, I'm looking at this spot right here, this is my splash guard, so I'm looking at whatever. Truck drivers, we look at things and we're trying to line things up all the time. You know, piece of gum on the floor, something here, like, you know, some bird poop or whatever. I'm lining things up. So when I'm backing up underneath my truck and I see my mirror, I'm kind of seeing that right here is where I'm connected completely. If I'm backing up and I can tell that I have this space between my fuel tank and the front of my trailer, right? I'm going to use this space to guide me in my mirrors if the trailer's too high, or I'm about to high hook it, or I'm going to bounce the, you know, high hook it, or bounce the kingpin over the fifth wheel. That case, you're going to have a really bad day. And if you're at a place and the switcher or the yard dog does not like truck drivers, you're going to even have a worse day. So when I'm looking in my mirror, I'm kind of looking at that I have this gap between the trailer and the fuel tank. I know that I'm right on the money. I hook up, I hear the pin clink, you know, then I'm going to give it a tug. Every time I hook up, boom, I'm going to give it a tug. Not a little light tug. I'm going to like tug it like if I want to drag it down the road with me, because that's where I know that the connection's complete. When I unhook, same thing goes. Right around here on my tires. Right? As I unhook, see how far away that skid, you see the apron? The apron's right there. I'm looking at the apron. Right? And this is my fifth wheel. So the front of the trailer, by the time that I unhook, it's going to be right here, because right there is where the apron and the skid plate are going to first make contact as I'm backing up underneath the truck. I'm looking at this in specific because I see a lot of people out there, they drop and they take off. I don't do that, because if I drop and I take off, I don't care if the trailer, I just picked it up from the manufacturer. I'm not going to trust the legs of the trailer. I'm gonna pull the release arm, which is right there. Pull the release arm towards me. I'm gonna undo my lines. I'm gonna pull forward, and in my mirrors, I'm gonna check that I'll feel it on my foot when the skid plate when the skid plate kind of like disconnects from the apron. I'm gonna feel it on my foot. I'm gonna look in my mirror. In my mirror, I'm going to see the front of the trailer is going to be right here. Right? Front of the trailer is going to be right here. The reason being that I just don't pull off. I'm going to wait a second. You know, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to see the trailer. It's going to settle in the mirrors. It's going to settle. Once I know that my landing gear is going to support the weight of the trailer, I'm going to pull forward. Reason being that these legs, it could, like I told you, it could be a brand new trailer. I've seen it. I seen it when I was working at FedEx. A brand new trailer, had like less than 500 miles on it. The guy was cranking the wheel down. This leg went down and that one didn't. When he pulled forward, I mean, he was an experienced driver. The trailer, so he saw it move in the mirror. He caught it right here on the frame. See? My trailer slips and falls. This here is made to be able to get underneath a trailer. That's why they have that slant. You know, some of them you'll see, if you look at the switcher trucks, they have this and it's like completely reinforced. This is good here because if my trailer slips really bad, I can probably get underneath it, or get underneath a low trailer, bring it up off the ground, let the air ride. Air ride's, you know, the leveler. The air ride's going to adjust and it's going to push the trailer up. And then you can lower the landing gear little by little. There's no need in working harder when you can work smarter. So this part right here, if the landing gear were to fail, the trailer, the front of the apron is going to fall on the frame, and then I'm going to call dispatch and say, hey, look, the landing gear, the legs failed, and the trailer almost fell. And they're going to say, oh my God, the trailer fell. What happened? And you say, no, but I caught it with the frame. They're going to say, wow, good work. And then that's just something coming from an old school guy trying to teach the new generation. There's things that they don't teach you, or you learn the hard way. I'd rather give as much information for the new generation of drivers, so like that, we don't get such a bad rep for not knowing what we're doing. So first things first, I come up here, I'm going to undo my, I'm going to do my crank handle. The crank handle has two settings. Has a low and a high, Just going to leave it in high setting. And I'm going to crank the wheel down. I'm going to crank the handle. Don't do what you see some truck drivers doing, that they're cranking the handle using two fingers. Try to be safe. Always be safe. Always be consistent. Consistency is going to help you to avoid getting into a jam later on down the road. If you do things and you're in a hurry all the time to do things, that being in a hurry is going to hurt you more than help you. So here we go, look. I rolled the landing gear down here on the bottom, right? I left the landing gear about an inch off the ground. The reason why I'm leaving the landing gear an inch off the ground, because when I pull forward, or when I go to disconnect, and I pull my release arm, sometimes the release arm is tight, like it doesn't come out. So that's because you still got a lot of weight of the trailer on the drive tires, right? Crank it down to about an inch off the ground. Now I'm not gonna put it back in the lock position for a simple reason. If I'm in the lock position, somebody pulls in with a forklift, this arm's gonna go like this. And when it goes like that, you're gonna have a bad day, right? I leave it like this. Like this, when we're getting ready to roll. Like this, when I'm gonna drop the trailer. Now like this, because if it's like this, look how far that crank handle comes out. Somebody can easily, if they're backing up to the dock, and they're not paying attention, they hit that crank handle, that thing's gonna snap, or it's gonna bend, and they're probably not gonna report it, and then you come a couple hours down the road to try to hook up, and now you're there fighting because you got a broken crank handle, or it snaps. Usually they'll snap because they're not made. A lot of these things, like the door handles, the hinges on the trailer, and these components here, they're not made. They're made like to be sacrificial. So if I back up and I hit that crank handle, that weld is going to snap because it's made to snap. It's not going to support the weight, and then I can, damage the frame or whatnot. So when I come up here, make sure the crank handle's kind of like dangling. Sometimes you'll see the trucks, they got the crank handle with where the lock position's right here. Same thing goes for that. I'm going to leave it hanging because if I put it here, the guy in the forklift pulls into the truck, this thing goes up, look. I can't get it. I can't get it from underneath. Now, if I forget to if I forget to leave it, let's say I'm in a hurry and I put it back into crank position. That still might work because leaving this much of the trailer about an inch off the ground, when I drop the trailer, this crank handle, let's say it gets jammed up there, when I get underneath the trailer with my air, well, you know, I'm going to dump the suspension, lower the trailer, pull forward. Before I get underneath the trailer, I'm going to raise my suspension. It's going to pick the trailer up. Feet are going to come off the ground, and this is going to go like this. It's going to come right down. Why? Because there's no tension. There's no more, though. It's not being pinched in place. So I come over here. I already lowered my landing gear about an inch off the ground. I make sure that my crank handle is in the, that's the right way I want to keep. I don't want to have the crank handle sticking out. I'm going to come up here. I got my release arm, right? I'm going to pull on my release arm. I'm going to pull towards me. You can see, release arm is pulled out. Let's look over here. We're going to look at the connection. See that? Let me see if you can see it. I can't. Right there, all you see is a kingpin. Why? Because when I pull that release arm, it pulled the locking jaws away from the kingpin. Now, I can undo my hoses, right? You jump up on the catwalk, come up on the catwalk, 3 points of contact. Remember, 2 hands, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 hand. I'm going to undo my lines. I'm going to put them here. You see some people, they're lazy and they throw them on the catwalk. I don't suggest doing that, because if it happened to fall in and that drive shaft grab your lines, it's going to tear all this thing apart. And you'll see some trucks, they'll have this here like a broken window, or the sleeper's all caved in. Why? Because the driver forgot to undo the lines, and those things, when they go, it's like a slingshot. It's going to go through the window, it's going to damage the back of the sleeper, it might jump up and hit these flares. There's enough tension in there that I've had these glad hands actually break with the tension when you're not paying attention. So I undid my lines, and I went ahead and I stowed them away, right? This extra line here, this is for a liftgate, so I'm not worried about that. I don't have a liftgate trailer. So I stow away my lines. Go ahead and get in my truck. This would all be done with the truck turned on, you know. I'm just to avoid the background noise, and so you can hear me talk a little bit more clearly. So 3 points of contact. I get in my tractor. Right. Get in the truck. Right. Safe start the truck. Push in the clutch. The phone is trying to escape. Push in the clutch, turn the key, let the truck cycle through. Go ahead and fire it up. Go ahead and fire up the truck. You see how I can see right there? I can see that connection. See, if I look in my mirrors, I can kind of see what I'm looking for, or where I'm at in relation to where my tires are as in relation to the trailer. So now this truck, I dumped the suspension. you're gonna see the trailer come down. Now you see it moving. Now I know that the trailer, the bottom of the legs or the sand pads are touching the ground. Put the truck in first, and as I pull away, when I pull away, let me show you. Make sure truck's in neutral. I'm doing like 3 points of contact. Getting out the truck. See right here? This is what I was saying earlier. This is the top of my fifth wheel, right? The skid plate. Bottom of the trailer is the apron. When I pull forward, the trailer is on the ground, right? Because I dumped my suspension. You can see that gap on the gap that's there is from me dumping the suspension. Notice, as I pull out, where are my tires in relation to my trailer, right? I'm looking at the front of my trailer. As I pull up, right around here, there's where that skid plate is going to touch that apron, and I'm going to feel it on the bottom of my pedal. All right, I want to make sure, you know, the release arm is disengaged. Sometimes these things, they do go bad and they'll slide back in. I know that right here, we have that I'm okay with the unhooking. I can tell. Remember what I was saying before? Let's say if I pull forward, this is a kingpin. Right? That's the kingpin. Notice I'm good space. If the trailer were to fail, the landing gears, if the landing gear were to fail, and I were to pull forward just a little bit more, the trailer's going to fall right on my frame. No harm, no foul, because hey, that's considered, you know, an act of God. Trailers landing gear fails all the time. And, you know, you want to be able to react to it and not, you know, anticipate and know what to do, and then just don't pull any more forward. Trailer's gonna move forward. You're gonna see it. You're gonna go, oh my God! But you still caught it because you didn't pull away. You pulled away. If you pull away, trailer's gonna take a nosedive. Now, as I pull forward, let me get back in the truck. 3 points of contact. I'm gonna lift my airbags so we can see out here. 3 points of contact to come back out. Look right now. Right? You see where it's top of the skid plate is right there. It's right on the top of the skid plate is right up on the apron. My landing gear is just a little bit off the ground. My landing gear is just a little bit off the ground. Landing gear's a little bit off the ground. Then I'm gonna pull forward, and I'm good to go. Right? Get back inside the truck. 3 points of contact. Pull forward. Pushing the brake. You see right there, a little bit of cheating. Right, pull up. Right there, if the trailer were to fail, the landing gear were to fail, I can still catch it on the frame. Right now, as I pull out, or pull away, I'm pulling away from the trailer. Take off. And remember, let me show you, time to hook him up. We're looking at the trailer, look for the laser pointer. I'm gonna line up my drive tires. This is a skinny trailer, so I'm gonna line up my drive tires with the side of the trailer. My air suspension, I already raised my air suspension. Put the truck in reverse. Then let's do it from here so you can see how I back up. Let's disengage the brake. As I'm coming up to the trailer, a little bit left, a little bit right, lining up the side of the trailer, in my mirrors, I'm backing up. Boom, see? So when I get underneath, let's look over here in my mirrors. Look how I see it in the mirrors. I know that the skid plate, the skid plate is touching the trailer, right? So let's lower a little bit. Get underneath. Alright. Let me stop real quick so you can see what I'm looking at. See where the kingpin is? That V. Dang it. I left my laser pointer inside. Let's see if I can put the phone here. See. You see the kingpin? Kingpin's right there. That's the top of the skid plate, like that V. It's in the fifth wheel. That's gonna guide the kingpin into the trailer, right? Hold on a second. Whew. All right, sorry about that. I come walk around, look at my landing gear. Landing gear's already off the ground, right? It's already off the ground. I'm not all the way there, I just wanted to get out to show you. Look at the kingpin. Kingpin is inside the gap that's on the skid plate. I'm gonna go ahead and get underneath and completely hook up. 3 points of contact. I'm sorry, I don't know if I got that. No, keep going. Hear that? That's what you want to hear. And then I give it a nice tug. Right? I have to move forward a little bit, that's fine. Let's pop the brake. Let's get back out. Let's check our connection. See right here? I'm looking at my gap between the trailer and the fuel tank. That seems about right. My release arm's in the lock position. Now my landing gear, since the airbags, the leveler lifted up the airbags. Now my landing gear is easy for me to crank up. And I look in here. There you go. The locking jaws are fully engaged around the kingdom. Checking the gap between my fifth wheel and my kingpin. There's no gap between the fifth wheel and the apron, and I'm ready to rock. Lift up my landing gear. Lift up my landing gear. I've been working on the railroad. That's what it feels like. You drop a trailer and you put that sucker in low, you're working on the railroad already. Kind of gonna move the line haul. They're gonna say, hey, man, what happened? What happened? You say, oh, I needed to work on burning some calories. So I decided to run around the yard. And they say, that's strange. We saw you cranking the hell out of that trailer like if you were on the railroad. See, now my foot pads are fully raised as far as they can go. I come over here. I'm going to do my connections. Service. Right, it's like male to female. Right, service line. Right. Got my electrical. Right. Electrical. Want to make sure that it's in the lock position. And I got the last but not least, the red line, which is my emergency line. Hooked up to the trailer. What I would do, I would put on my four-way flashers, my lights, check all my lights and make sure everything's working. I start on the left, walk around to the right. You always want to check the right side, because if somebody hits you on the right side, they're going to most likely not say that they hit you. So I already did my connection. I did my tug, did my connections. When I would do my brake test in here, that I can do the tug. You know, you do a tug test, and you're going to do a leak test. You do that to make sure that your glide hands are connected right. If you get a constant hiss, check your connection here. It's going to be your emergency line. If you're pulling forward and it's hissing, you're pulling out the yard and you hear shh, shh. I mean, you might be in a sleeper, you might not hear it, but you see the air pressure going down every time you put your foot on the pedal. It's your service line. Blue is service, red is emergency. In the green, you want to make sure the electrical's there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote for today. What I'm going to do a coupling video right now, just talking about the coupling, which is the last form of the inspection. Alright everybody, have a nice day, and thank you for watching.